Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. This content is not only for the R. Kelly supporters, this is also a discussion on domestic violence and also endangering the welfare of children. And it's a whole lot of stuff. Good morning, the Karate King. How are you? How are you? Thank you for coming in this morning. I would love to have you always, always continue to hang in there with your content creator. Well, I'm actually not a content creator, but the discussion I wanted to talk about what happened last week, last Saturday. Yes, what's been going on? We're going to get right into it because I just had to do a little bit more research on this story. It's been circulating. People's been talking about it, of the 6 children who lost their mother in domestic violence. And now they're looking for a loving, safe, nurturing environment for these children. But we're going to get into the discussion of all of this because I actually work in this type of field of work, not only as an educator for young children, but I'm also like a social worker in the work that I do. Yes, it's some serious stuff, and I have worked in the schools and everything that all connects together. So I just wanted to just bring this to the front line, and I also wanted to discuss it today on women who are in um, volatile relationships, toxic with the fathers of their children, their husband, and lovers, whatever it may be. Okay, and this is a very sensitive topic. If you've been a woman of domestic violence, or if you've been a woman who have been saved from situations like that you don't really, I mean, it's like this topic is very sensitive. Just put it that way. And if you're a woman who's been in a domestic violence situation before and you feel trapped and you took the initiative to do everything you can to remove yourself or detach yourself from toxic friends, people, yes, but Karate Kid, we all somehow or the other are involved because of the fact that it goes on around the clock, 24/7. It's been reported that 189 cases like this are coming up. The numbers probably went higher since then. The stats probably went even higher with women who's been killed in the hands of their husband, by the hands of their fathers of their children, in domestic violence situations. And this is whether we like it or not, everybody is involved in things like this happening to protect our loved ones. And of course, most of all, to protect the children of our loved ones, or even protect the children in our families or whatever. And the thing is that as I went more and deeper into this story when it happened, of course, she was found in an Odyssey gold minivan, stabbed 18 times, also with the weapon in her head, the object in her head, when she was found that morning, when she was supposedly been approached by her father of her children. So this is what's been reported. I'm only going on what I've read in the reports. Once I've done this video, I will probably attach some of the story that you can research and look for in yep. And I mean, you could talk to you blue in your face sometimes to people that are in these situations, and then they don't take you for being a friend when you're really trying to tell them something for their own good and also to protect them from anything harming them or their children. A lot of times we try to pull people's coat in situations like that. Like this Ashley Lockhart, may she rest in heavenly peace. May her children be given a home where they'll be loved, nurtured through all this, and get the kind of intense intense therapy they may need in the loss of their mother and their father, because right now they're orphanage children and they're looking for a home to place them in all together so they don't have to be separated from each other, because there's 6 children here. 6, okay? The youngest is a baby, is an infant still, is a baby, probably won't remember anything like this happening to his or her mom. I don't know what is the 10. I don't know if there's just 6 daughters. Yes, with these 6 children. I don't know the last baby. Of course, I know she showed videos on her Instagram and Facebook of her giving her daughters some positive affirmations, speaking positive things into their spirit, into their life, which was a great thing to do. She shared out there on some of her social media pages of her being a mom and the love she had for her daughters and how she's trying to pour into them the positive things that they need to know about themselves as they go journey through this life, this world that she's giving birth to them to. Um, that's all I'm saying. And then all of a sudden I see people doing this as a money grab, to promote their business or to promote their work, as far as like trying to get money from GoFundMe and people to donate to this family and the loss of their mother. Me, myself, I feel very personal about that, in a way where people use people's demise as a come up and as a profit to gain. I understand they lost their mom and everything, but do people believe in buying life insurance policies? This is what I'm saying. You bring in life into this world. You don't know what's going to happen to you. There could be a sickness that might get involved in your life. Anything can go wrong. Anything can go wrong with your life. You driving out there without insurance on your car. Your car could break down on the roadway. You need roadside assistance. You need to prepare yourself for things. You got to prepare yourself as much more for death than you do living. Okay? More for death is the most important thing people need to prepare for. You need a life insurance policy, and especially if you bring in children into this world, you need to make a policy for your child from the time it into this world to plan for the future of your child. If you're out here planning to have a family, you need these things. These things are important. Life insurance policies, you get a term life insurance. Now, I used to, get into all these marketing certain products, especially life insurance policy I got with this company called Prime America before. And yes, in these businesses. Also, I did things like the law thing, it's a lot of products out there that you can be educated about. So things you will need at some time in life. Now, I ain't saying I can hold on to all these things, because I had so many policies that has lapsed on me. But still, even on my job, there's employers that I work for that I make sure I get into buying an insurance policy with the company to cover me in case anything happens to me, accidental death insurance. There's all kind of policies out there to protect your loved ones, and also to cover your loved ones, and to also for their living expenses. If God forbid, if anything goes wrong, you own a home, you got a family, that, things like that. Even if you have an apartment, you have to have insurance on your apartment that you live in. Anything get lost in your apartment, there might be a fire, claims like that may happen. So always try to look into these things for what may come in life. Getting your nails done every 2 weeks or your hair done every 2 weeks and doing all of this other extra stuff with your money, things that are just waste to me. You don't need this stuff all the time to look so superficial and live this kind of lifestyle. You don't need weed every day. You don't need the alcohol beverages every day. But one thing for sure that is coming is death. And one thing you need is to prepare yourself. And the thing is that for me to go on social media or anywhere begging for money to bury my loved ones is a disgrace, okay? is a disgrace. I was not brought up that way. My mother had a life insurance policy for each and every last one of her children, and even for herself when we were growing up. And when we got older, she handed us a policy or whatever things that was on that policy. She gave us our own. When we got to 18 years old, we was responsible for, my mother dropped every last one of us. Up to you. But I actually, mine's, I never kept up with. Okay, simple as that. My mother dropped mine. I got married, blah, 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 da, da, da. So mommy didn't keep up with my life anymore. I had to be responsible for my own life now. She did everything she can, housing, clothing, feeding me, and educating me. It was up to me whether I wanted to continue to go on to college, and took the trust money that she put into us for our educational future. It was up to us if we wanted to carry on and do what we needed to do for whatever we wanted to plan to do with our lives. Now, today, these people are living recklessly. They're not getting married to plan with family. They just out here randomly having sex, risky lifestyles, having multiple children with someone who has not committed to them as a husband. We're going to get into that, about this story on Ashley Lockhart, and we're going to talk about these protection from abuse orders, okay? We're going to talk about when you go and you get a PFA, which is a protection from abuse order, from reporting violence or being a victim of domestic violence. When we report these claims, we have to follow up on these claims. Now, the thing is no, a piece of paper is not going to protect you. You have to work with that piece of paper. And if that means, if this person in your life that you have, that you really want to get rid of, and you don't want to be died by the hands of them, and you have children, especially when you have young children from them, and you don't want to keep your children in that type of toxic environment, what you have to do with that piece of paper, when that order is given to you for to protect you from someone else, someone who is abusing you, you have to take the initiative. Once you make that claim and report, even if you have to move to go into a woman's shelter, okay, get your things to storage, show this to your landlord if you have to, on your lease, and that lease is not up to the date where you're supposed to move out, and you have to break your contract on that lease just because you have to save yourself, that's what you got to do. Show that PFA to your landlord, so you won't get caught up with no expenses whatsoever. Say, look, I'm in a bad situation right now. I did plan on living here at this such and such amount of time, but I'm going to have to break my contract. I have to find myself to safety. So you may have to move. You may have to get all your things out to storage. You may not even have to talk to nobody, no family members, no nothing. Get yourself your protection of abuse order. Get a police officer to come with you, or somebody to come with you to your home to collect your items or your property or whatever things, important documents you might need for yourself and your children, and you get yourself out of there. That's what the protection for abuse order is for you to do. You have to remove your children from whatever schools they're in, and you have to, use that protection from abuse, where you and your children are going to have to live somewhere temporarily until they can find you a new place to live, away from the person or this abuser that you're living with. This is how a PFA works. Why do people think they're just going to have the papers, remain living in the same environment, remain living with this type of person in your home? Now, when I read the story of what happened to Ashley Lockhart, this 36-year-old mother who lost her hands, whose life was taken by her father of her children, there were signs. The man had a rap record of a history of criminal things, that she remained in this relationship with him. Not only after the first child, the signs were there because this stuff was going on, and from family members who knew this stuff was going on. Only one family member came up. So far I've seen in the media was this supposedly cousin of hers who owns a church, and he was just out there speaking on things about domestic violence or about crimes in his city of Philadelphia, wherever the city they live in. And that's not too far from me. I'm in the suburbs of it. So I'm saying, and when he was speaking, he says something to the news reporters that was reporting the story and had them there on the platform. Oh, she loved this man. And the man said she loved a man that murdered her. So somehow or the other, people got to be careful what they say out here in the public, because to me, if him killing her, stabbing her 18 times and in the face and everything and in her head, and leaving the weapon right there in her head, in her skull or whatever, that wasn't love. So be careful using the word love. Just say that she probably didn't recognize some of his violent behavior, didn't realize he would go this far to kill her. Just be honest. I'm sure this just didn't just come to he just snapped and just murdered her like that. When she was found at 8 o'clock in the morning, when he did this supposedly at 8 a.m. in the morning, and she's in a minivan somewhere where she could be found with him. And the way he opened up the door of the minivan and stabbed her. I don't know. We all don't know the whole inside story to how it escalated up to this. To condemn this man and to say what we saying about him being a monster and he's a demon and he's a devil and he needs to go to jail and under the jail, when all of this stuff was being reported from the protection of, she just got a protection of abuse order from him, when all these years this man been committing crimes. All these years she kept having babies with him and never, ever didn't stop. Look at it through a fine needle going through a haystack. Of how it escalated up to her death. Hey, Vonda, how are you, love? Thank you for coming in this morning. I'm having a discussion on what took place with this mother of 6 children who was murdered by the hands of her father of her children. And I'm talking on protection from abuse. I'm going in and out of all kind of things on this, okay? So be patient with me. All these years, not only one child she had with him, but 6 children. And the last child they had is 10-month-old. It's a 10-month-old. And she's just getting a PFA. And the reason he killed her is because he said he thought this is what was reported. Okay? I'm going to leave the links in this video when I'm done. Look into the story carefully about the PFA, because that's where I'm talking on. I'm talking basically on the PFA. So how you had to closely examine things that people keep saying that the protection of abuse and they're going to become vigilantes. You don't have to go through all of that. All you have to do is take that PFA that you have. If you're in this situation, if you're in this type of relationship, the paper is there as something to serve to your residency, to let them know that this man is threatening your life and you want to get your children to safety. If he harm you, he gonna harm the kids as well. So you have to do this. These are the steps you're gonna have to take. You take the PFA to your landlord, you let them know what's going on, you get your things to storage, and when you come to collect your things, you make sure you get an officer, a police officer, somebody there to be there as protecting you in case they might be in the area, so you could be safe. You go with a police officer. You stay somewhere in a shelter or wherever you have to stay and get your things out of the home. The most important things should be for you to take is your children's birth certificates, social security cards, all your important documents. You get that stuff with you. Okay? How you doing, I Rise Solo, loving me? I'm glad you're here with that rent, because I may have to wrench some people out. So hang in there with me for a while. because this is a very touchy subject, okay? Because I know people are going to attack me on it because of how people feel about how could you talk so ill of it. I'm not talking ill about her. I'm just saying I'm going to put this out there for people that going around with this piece of paper don't protect you. You have to work with that piece of paper. It's to protect you. If you have to go in, like I said, move, get a police officer, show them the document of the protection of abuse that you do scared and he might be in an area you need some protection for yourself. So you bring a police officer there, you get your things out of the home, you put whatever furniture you need to put. I wouldn't even be thinking about the furniture. Okay, all right, so I understand. Well, thank you for coming in anyway. You get that document. You tell a police officer you need to get to your home. You're afraid to go there alone. You're afraid he might be in the area. He might harm you or hurt your children or whatever. You get somebody to come with you to that home to get whatever you need to get and to give this order of protection to your landlord. You get out of there. Even if you have to go to your job and report to your job, send a copy to your job that you're in a domestic violence situation, you may have to take a leave of absence, or if your job may be able to transfer you or will be available to transfer you if you are moving and relocating to someplace else. So this person won't be in no place to see you or have any chances of bumping into you. You might have to cut off communication with family members, his family member, his mother, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, anybody that might be family or whatever. You might have to just flee for your life to someplace and just go in some kind of witness protection program just so you can get yourself to freedom and to get your children away from that environment and to safety. Your important thing is to have a life insurance policy. Nobody should be going on anybody to the world and to public or the media or whatever to ask for money for strangers to help bury you or money to help with your children, even though I already know that the Social Security office or whatever will take care of them because now they're a ward of the state. They have no parents. So they have to have some kind of way to place these children. But what they're looking for is a home to place them in where they don't all have to be separated. And that is really, really where it really is going to be difficult. I have space in here, but you know what? I don't know these people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know these people. And there's a 10-year-old, and I'm pretty sure this 10-year-old could find a way to get on social media to be in touch with contact with certain family members or whatever like that and let them know where you live and all this stuff and bring all that drama into your home. I don't know these people. I wouldn't even do it for my own family kids, especially if I know they was living reckless. I could probably help send some money to the kids or whatever, but as far as me, or help with their educational needs if they need anything or whatever, but that's a scary thing. The way this world is today, people scared to let people into their home, and especially on something like this. So since this pastor or whoever, you take them in and you take all of them together into your home, you're a man of God and you're a man of ministry or whatever like that, you will know what God will send for you to take care of these children since you're a family member, so maybe they should go with you. Okay? But I'm just saying, you just got to be really careful. And with that protection of abuse order, you use that order to move, to leave, and to help protect you. This is the reason why you have to get out of this situation. This is why I have to leave this job. This is why I have to leave this home that I'm renting from. This is why I have to leave the States. This is why I need to be in a shelter. I need to go into a program that can put me in some kind of protection program from wherever. You have to work with that piece of paper. You can't sit there with the piece of paper and don't move. And from what was reported in the newspapers, this woman remained living with this monster, with the man. Even they were still living and was even engaged to marry him. 6 kids, never been married. They were not even married to have these children. Nothing is talking about her employee. Where she was employed at. How was she, supporting her family? We all know what he was about. He got a whole line of criminal things he's done, and she was with him. She stayed with him. It's a whole lot I can say, but and I even put myself out in harm's way for a lot of family members and their reckless lifestyle and their children. You got to be very careful how you get yourself involved with stuff like this. That this man actually just got up, met with his baby mother on a Saturday morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, just stabbed her, knife to up. This just ain't the first time happening. And nobody gonna sit and try to tell me that you don't recognize signs of a crazy person. Forget about all that beauty and all that with everybody. Oh, this beautiful mother. Oh, she's so beautiful. She was so beautiful on social media, doing all these positive affirmations with the 6 children and giving them, speaking all of this positive affirmations into them. It's not what you say, it's what you live in front of them. Is what they see. Parents as teachers first. I worked in family children that had to be removed from a situation like that. Me, myself, had to live through those experiences myself. My mother had 9 kids. 7 girls, 2 boys. Now it's 6 girls and 2 boys. Now, I never witnessed none of the domestic abuse, but my older siblings have, and family got involved to remove us from that environment until my mother was able to get herself together. And everybody else had their own hands full with their own mess, but they got involved. And I'm here to tell you today, my mother didn't have no protection from abuse. My mom didn't marry my father until the 3rd child and the abuse was going on. I wouldn't be talking on a subject like this if I had not been a product of it myself. I don't touch things that I don't know anything about personally. And I know what I'm talking about here. It got to the point where my dad, he was a military veteran. 9 kids. My dad was also an addict. Nine kids. Okay? But I didn't follow what my mom did. I did what the word of God told me to do. Mama may have that and Papa may have, but God bless the child who has his own. But I have taken some pieces of their life. I have taken pieces of their life. And I took the good fruit of it and I spit out the seeds. If I didn't want to continue this type of bloodline for myself or this type of, family curse, I took a different route. I don't stay in nobody's relationship, mother, sister, brother, nobody who I see can be violent to me or disrespectful to me. Doesn't matter who you are, I leave. I don't even try to be in your company at no functions. If I know you there and you there to do some harm to me, I wouldn't even attend. You got to respect my feelings about that. But I just wanted to share about these protection abuse orders. Get out. Just detach yourself from family, friends, everybody that may be familiar with you until you can get your life to freedom with your children. Don't stay with no volatile man, no abusive man, whether he's financially abusing you, whether he's physically abusing you, emotionally abusing you, or doing anything like not working, not bringing in any resources, not even living a good citizen lifestyle or whatever. Get out. Don't lay up and have babies with them. Like this going to make this change. You making matters worse for yourself. Get out. This is why God says it's not good to have children. But even though the world want to glorify the single parent, shit, bullshit. Only way I could glorify a single parent if this woman was tried and this man and her were married, and she had to leave the marriage on the sake of his violence or him financially abusing the family or doing things like drugs and all that. And she had to move out of that marriage for the sake of those children. And they could go to family court or whatever they need to do to find a way that they can have some type of visitation. But it depends on where he's at in life. He's not working. He's not doing anything with his life. What's the use of going through all of that? Now, if it's a marriage, there may be some resources involved. There may be some assets involved that y'all have planned to do for the child, and y'all need to work around to how to figure that stuff out and how to co-parent. But other than that, don't stay with somebody on the sake of economically or whatever. If you have to take care of what you got to do for they can save your life and your children, you get out and you get that stuff. You deal with that some other time, but you get that PFA and everything so you can get the resources you need for you and your family. Housing is one of them, getting your children to a school and away from where he might be able to go in the building and wait for you there or do something to get the kids and hurt the kids or whatever. That's what you got to do. You have to cut off communication even with friends, even shut down your social media account so they can't track you from there. You got to go into hiding. From these kind of things. You have to. And I'm going to say, I ain't going to think that if you're a woman out here and you've been dating, young women, old women, whatever, we all have been experienced with some kind of abuse with our lovers, our husbands. When I could talk about my ex-husband who did some things to me. When I was in it, I couldn't understand, but as I got out of it, it was abuse. You bring your customs and culture and trying to impose that stuff on me and force that stuff on me, knowing I'm not from that culture, and you was taking advantage, and I was a young girl, had a pretty messed up home life going on, family, situation going on, and you took advantage of that. And you were older. And as I started taking each day, one day at a time, and talking to the Lord, I finally pulled myself out. Not say it was over. I still try to go out dating and meeting male friends and everything. And I recognized signs of their abuse or could have been a victim of theirs. I got out. I had a living boyfriend at one time who was abusing me emotionally. And it did become physical. And I did have to get a PFA. And I did have to move and leave. And forgive myself and forgive him as well. It's all good now, but, things can get better. But you have to move away from your assailant. You know what they're capable of doing to you. Jealous boyfriend, crazy. Thank God I ain't been with no criminal like that, no crazy. Well, then again, maybe I might have. I don't know. But one did call my job one time, and he got locked up, and he made a collect call to my job. Now that's kind of stepping out of your boundaries. If you're capable of doing something like that, you could be capable of doing other things to harm me. You know what I'm saying? So thank God I caught it in time, and it didn't get to this point. But I'm just saying that some women, they see the signs and they keep playing with it until they become a victim, and they can never come back again to tell their story. So you be careful. Hey, Mary Dukes, how are you, love? Thank you for coming in this morning. To the point of no return. They play with it until the point of no return. This stuff is happening so much today. Sometimes the person will take yours, his, and your life. Just another story just popped up about a woman with so jealous of another woman. I don't really know the whole detail of the story. I couldn't keep up. But from what I did get, the little bit of details that I did get from the story, first people thought she was found murdered and killed by a man, but then to come and find out it was a woman that went over there and murdered this woman. What was the motive of her doing that? People say because she was dating a boy. Rumors are out there because she was jealous of the girl, and the girl was messing around with her boyfriend, and they both were seeing the same dude, and the girl got jealous, and she went into this violent rage that she went and she killed the woman. It's that I'll follow up with that story some other time, but I'm just saying. Women are dying by the hands of jealous lovers, baby fathers, husbands, whatever. But if you recognize jealousy in a person, you recognize any kind of anger in a person speaking on certain subjects all the time, and they, they get into that point, you have to get yourself away. I just dealt with a friend of mine's, longtime childhood friend of mine, who's talking too much violence to me, and I just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you know what? I gotta leave you alone. This ain't healthy. Every time I'm talking to you, I'm telling you, I'm not a gun person. I don't like to even talk about guns. I don't like guns. I don't want one in possession of my home, nowhere, nothing around it. If somebody gonna break in and do what they gonna do, you know what? I'm just gonna pray and keep my gun. That's just me. Some people like, oh, I gotta get a gun. You gotta be careful with that too, because those things could be in your home, and your same assailant, a person could come in, break in, take your gun, and kill you with your own gun. So they might even come in with a gun. They might find your gun and kill you with it. Okay, it happens. Or I could get in an argument and get it heated up, and it could get real crazy, and I could grab a gun and just pow, 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 take my husband out of here. Those things I take into consideration because people just could lose it. So to avoid anything like that happening to me, I do everything I can to try to pray, ask God for his protection and his safety over my life. And I do everything I can to keep my home safe. I got an alarm in my house. I got the doors locked. I check every place in the house before we go to bed at night. We check this. We check downstairs with the garage. We check the basement. We check everything before make sure everything is secure and locked or whatever like that. And the alarm is set. All of that to protect myself. That's a way of protection. And try to be careful about the time in the areas of places I go in certain areas and stuff like that, but to walking in safety and protection or whatever. It's just, not trying to keep violence in my head or around my head or nothing like that. So I try not to have those kind of conversations on violence, harming people. I just try to stay away from it. Even sometimes when I'm talking things on topics about R. Kelly, I try to, limit my conversations on that as well. come and share what I know, and then whatever I don't know, I sit back and I examine it and try to make the best, you know, bring the best kind of positive, feedback that I can on whatever I have discovered or whatever, and try to see things unbiased. What I'm just saying, as far as for Ashley Lockhart, I'm sorry it had to end that way for her. Um, and the saddest part is that I'm praying and hoping for her children will find a home that will be safe, nurturing, loving, and caring, and that they'll get the best kind of intervention of therapy that they may need for them to, you know, overcome all of this, and how they're going to become whatever citizens they're going to become in the future. It's all I can say. That whatever family member takes them in, and through all of this, that they will be the best person that they possibly can be. And remember, when you're taking these kids in, this is a lifetime commitment. It's not just something you could just like, hey, they getting a little bit too much. You got to know if this is something you want to do for 18 years or more. It's a lifetime commitment. You taking on that role as a parent. It's a lifetime commitment. Don't just do it because you want the money. Do it because you truly care about them and you really want to care for them and give them a good, loving, nurturing, and safe environment. Don't just do it because you just want money and you're going to get these refunds and you're going to get state money and checks and all this other stuff and mess them up even more, or bring them into your violent, crazy household where you got kids that you got out of control and you got a man beating you upside your head and knocking you all over the place, or whatever. Don't bring them into that environment. If you're going to bring them into that environment, know that this is in your heart to do what you got to do to help save those kids, to help those kids. And I know family members will jump on the bandwagon, jump into this just for a money grab. Just for a money grab. But if you're not going to commit yourself for 18 years, and you're not going to go through this therapy with the children, if you're not going to go through all of this and stuff, and you're going to love them as if they are your own kids, and if you're not going to make sure they be placed in a good, school system and a school classroom with teachers and everything, educators and stuff, if you're not going to be involved in that with them, and you're not going to be doing all of that running and doing all that to the hospital, the baby is only 10 months, so the baby going to need her shots or his shots. The baby going to need your full nurturing attention all the time, love and caring, like what the mother was giving the child. You have to carry on and take care of all those responsibilities. These are 6 individuals left without parents to guide them, to help them, to direct them. You're going to have to go through those rebellious teenage seasons or whatever, spells. Teaching these young girls about their bodies and how to choose good friends. And it's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to commit to yourself doing for the next 18 years or more. Don't just do it just because it's money involved. Do it because you really, truly care. That's for real, for real. Like I said, I'm sorry about this domestic violence ending so fatal. And the most important thing is that these children that are down here with us, that we will do all we can to pray for them and pray that they go into the right hands of somebody that really truly cares. And watch out for these GoFundMes. GoFundMe. I'm just like, look, I don't do the GoFundMe thing. My niece died last year. She left 3 children behind. Her children were older. The youngest I think was no more than 11, going on 12. And the oldest, of course, at the time of her mother's death was 18. But she wasn't in the care of her mother. She was living with her father, and her grandmother raised her. So the kids were kind of like split it up already. Remember my niece wanted me to take the kids even before it got to this point. And I said, what about the grandmother, which is my sister? The last time I took care of her middle child and I had him in my custody on no state money, no nothing. This was my own earned income that I worked to take care of her child while she was preparing herself to go into the military or whatever, going through her basic training through the military. I took care of her child. Now, while I was in the care and custody of the child, I made sure I paid for his child care expenses, seasonal, clothing, um, made sure I kept the roof over his head, got up each and every morning, bought him his own snacks and foods to the child care center. All this came out of my own expense. I was paying $140 a week for his child care expenses. And this is not going to a child care center. This was going to someone home who was watching in the community who had their own little business in their home that I would bring my great nephew to every morning. Okay? So, anyway, now she did hand me her food stamp card and her WIC, what they call vouchers, okay, to make sure that these things, this is what she gave me. So I said, okay, I'll use it whenever it's necessary. When the time comes and it's necessary, maybe I would use your food stamp card to go shopping and everything to buy food for your child, but everything else came out of my own expense. I'm telling you the God honest truth. Everything came out of my own pocket. And this is before I even met my husband. All of this went on. You know what I'm saying? I met my husband in 2013. Okay. So, I mean, we got married yeah. I met him in 2011. I'm sorry, but we got married like around 2013, whatever. Okay. So let me just say this to you, right? So I was taking care of my great nephew. Had him in my care. He was being loved. He was being nurtured. I had him, even some of the mothers in the church that were helping me, even the pastor of the church at the time and everything, blessed him and everything. Had him, christening in the church and all of that stuff. I did for my great nephew. Only thing I asked the mother to do, please make sure you call and check up on him. You don't necessarily have to call me, but here's the number to the child care worker, the person who's taking him, who's taking care of him. That's my child care provider or whatever. Here's her number. You can reach out to her, check on your child, blah, 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 blah. Because she was with me when I got him enrolled and, put him in the child care center. I took her with me. We did all of this together. So time went on. As I was taking care of this baby, now I started getting a little sick too because my body started, because, just recently I just had just buried my mother too. So I did everything I can to help out with the baby. She didn't call to check up on the baby. And I was like calling her. I called her up. Oh, I was busy. I was going to get to you. I was going to, this, that, yeah. I would have been checking on my child every goddamn day. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing, how's he doing? Is everything okay? I couldn't even, I had this child in my custody. This was an arrangement me and her made. This wasn't an arrangement done by the courts or anything like that. So I expected her to keep her word and doing what she needed to do to, as a mom, to take, to get herself together and make sure she check on her baby. She ain't called me, didn't call to check on the child, no nothing. No, nothing. Okay, so afterwards, it was Easter approaching. And I said, okay, I'm going to make a nice Easter meal. Now, my money was kind of low on me. So I said, let me just go and use this food stamp card so I could buy, some food and everything that I could cook for Easter for the baby and myself. When I get to the supermarket and trying to make this purchase, the card was declined. I was so embarrassed. I didn't even have money to even complete the purchase or anything of everything that I bought. So it was a nice gentleman who helped me out, and I paid for whatever I can help pay for. But this gentleman said, look, miss, you don't have to put all that back. I'll help you out. What you need. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, thank you, sir. Thank you. It was so nice of this gentleman. So then when I get home, I call her on the phone and I say, you know what? You got 24 hours. I said, oh, Auntie, I was going to call and I was going to, I was going to look out. I had to cancel that card because it was defective and I was going to send you the new card and da 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 da. She told me all this long story, right? So I try to take her for a word at the card. She says, Auntie, I'm sorry. I was going to call you and let you know I canceled that card. I must have forgot. I'm so sorry. She ain't say nothing about, oh, how much money did you spend on the groceries that I can't reimburse you. No, she didn't do none of that. Okay? None of that. And so then the next thing you know, I said, okay, I left her alone. I left it alone or whatever. Then time went on. I never seen no card come in the mail. Nothing. So I finally called up and I said, you got 24 hours to get down here to the city to pick up your child, or I'm calling the children of child welfare and reporting you as a neglecting mother and neglecting your child, placing your child in the care of a relative without even communicating with the child, at all. You showing no responsibilities whatsoever. This is not mine. Her mother also both get on the phone and they both cussing me out. God is my witness. And I took my time to do what I did and put my heart out there to help people like this. And mind you now, this is only her second child from the second baby daddy. Know nothing about this man of the child she had the child with. Never saw him, don't know nothing about, really nothing about him. His name is on the birth certificate, but that's all I know. Don't even know if he's the real father, but I'm just still saying. Never met him, don't know nothing about him. Okay? Then she go on and she got married and she had a baby number 3. Got just a whole messiness. Hey Tracy, how you doing, love? Thank you for stopping in. So I'm talking from some experiences that I've been through with these baby mama, they drama, the family members do this shit and they abuse their family members financially, emotionally. They do some reckless, crazy, ratchet shit. Okay? Now, she passed away last August from an overdose of fentanyl. Left those 3 babies, 3 of her children behind. People was like looking at me like I was, oh, no. But I'm just saying, like, for this to get to this point, what happened to Ashley Lockhart, and nobody came forward to even tell the truth if they ever tried to save her or her children. Now that she's good and gone, oh, rest in peace. Oh, she was an angel. Oh, she was this, that, and the other. How many family members ever took the risk to try to save her from that man? Or take custody of those children to keep them safe? Now this cousin or whoever gets on out here talking about how he's a church pastor or whatever, and the children need a home, and people to donate to the GoFundMe. That's all they care about. But what about being honest? So you can help other family members, so you can help others out there in situations that led up to Ashley's death. Now I'm telling my niece story like that. She's gone now, but I just shared a little bit, of what she's done. Not everything, but some of the things. You know what I'm saying, Tracy? Why would she stay with this man and kept having kids with this man, 6 of them, and leave them motherless like that? And put them in an environment like that? And get on social media and having them doing these positive. I see beyond what you see. I see beyond of what you see. Even from the own experiences that I had. And it hurted me so to the core of my heart. And I still reached out to my niece to try to save her and keep her here. Because you know why? Because I still gave up my life and did what I had to do when I was relocating my life and everything. I came to stay out there with her when she was in the military with her children, and she had to go on active duty or whatever. And her husband was, I'm sorry, her husband at the time was on, they were young. I don't know, people get married in the military. I guess they get more money. They barely know each other, even if they barely even know each other, and they have another baby and all this stupid stuff people will arrange just to do to have money. Reckless and being ignorant. But I still went out there to make sure she was okay with her children. She wanted Auntie to come live with her. Okay, so you know about this stuff, Tracy. You know what I'm saying? I know how this system is. Been a product of it myself, been a product of certain things myself. And no matter how much you could talk and tell people, because people jump on the bandwagon. And I understand a lot of people that's on these social media sites or whatever, these are young, irresponsible adults anyway, so they don't really go into no story. They really don't, they still kind of blind to the world. They still don't understand things yet, so they just jump on the bandwagon and just speak on anything just to be talking, trying to figure this whole thing out called life. you know, irresponsible, they reckless, they out here putting on their fake lashes, getting BBLs and weaves done in their hair, and all they care about is just looking cute in the camera. Some of them even, just doing all kind of foolish things as they follow in the world, fashions and trends and all that other stuff of they outer beauty, of they outer beauty. Okay, how to catch a man, how to keep a man, how to do this for a man, but they not thinking about how to really be a good mother, a good wife, and citizen, whatever. Okay, all this stuff out here. You should see, I see a mother cocking her legs open every day in a little skimpy outfit, and she got small children in her videos doing it, and everybody praising her. Oh, she's good. Oh, she ain't no damn Beyonce. I can tell you that much, because Beyonce don't do the shit she doing. Only when she performing, and I barely see Beyonce even perform the way she's been performing publicly on social media around her young children. Messy shit she doing. And when you come for them on the social media sites and everything, and you're trying to pull them about stuff, and you're trying to talk to, you have seen them OD'd, and they have what I'm saying? It's a whole lot of crazy shit you can see going on in the world right here, Tracy. If you look on this social media about these mothers and the reckless lifestyle they live in, and the things they doing on social media around the young children, and the kind of idiot boyfriends and husbands that they have, and they expose, and they life stories on social media, you can see it all. You can see it all. But then they want to send you saying they sending their prayers. Let me tell you something. God don't hear them kind of empty prayers. You know what I'm saying? God just don't work like that. And in order for God to work with you, you have to believe in what God tells you to do. And you out here popping out here babies, baby, with baby daddy here, baby daddy there, or even just popping out babies from this one dude that really just doing all of this with you. He ain't never commit to you and even say he want to be a husband and a father. Doing nothing for you. You're going to save a, you're going to build a man. You're going to save a man. You're going to make your family. But he ain't committing to that, and he's not even moving in that direction with you when he hasn't even got it together for his damn self. It's just a whole lot of messy shit. And sometimes you just got to go deeper into the story than what you see on the surface and what you see in the headlines. Or even the way the government or the news reporters are reporting it. People eulogy speaks for themselves. No life insurance policy on your life, on your children's life. You didn't buy into none of these products. Invest in none of these products for the life of your children. You left them out here an orphan. You chose this kind of man as a father to them. This violent man with a criminal background, criminal all the way. They said he had a long history, a long bunch of criminal things he did, like to this outlaw. This is who you choose as a father. These thugs. And I ain't off the men either, but I ain't living as a man. I live as a woman. But I'm just saying, some of these women, I let men speak on that topic of the women they choose to have children with, that they lay up with, without protecting themselves, the relationships they get involved with. But I let a man speak on that. I could speak for us women, but I can't speak on for a man. Let a man speak to the brothers about their conduct and what they're doing and what they're causing to hurt their mothers of their children and the children that they have with these women, the woman they chose as the mother of their children. I let men carry on with that conversation, but I can speak for us women and some of us what we do. And then the ones like myself who are trying to prevent child abuse, who are trying to prevent women in domestic violence situations. But we get overshadowed by the bullshit. How could you speak so ill of the dead? They spoke ill of themselves, of the life they lived to put themselves in that situation. Like I said, the protection of abuse order, you take it to the police. You take it to go get your things from where you living at. They ain't going to tell you. They already told you all. They deal with this shit all the time. And sometimes these women go back to these men. You know what I'm saying? Let me read that, Tracy. My husband and 2 sons and me have life insurance, worked in the or night shift, trauma 26 years. You see what I'm saying? You got to keep a life insurance policy, especially when you got children. And with that protection of abuse order, I'm going back to speak on. You take it to the police. Go get your things. Have a police officer with you. Do not go alone. Don't go get a family member. Don't go get a friend. Get the police to help you go get to the place to go get your things. Get what's important to you. Bring your things, and if you have to lock your things up in storage, have a police car follow you. Have somebody there to be there on site with you while you go and collect your property or whatever you owe. This is what the protection of abuse is supposed to do for you. You have to work with it. Because if you don't work with it, it ain't going to work for you. You take it to the schools and let the schools and everything give you that PFA. Your children might have to be homeschooled somewhere, or, somewhere where they have a place where you could place your children temporarily for an education to protect them from being at the school where their father might come there or the abuser might come there and try to harm your kids. You got to get them out of that environment. Then if you want to relocate for another state or whatever, if you do, you want to call family, call them on the damn pay phone or the burner phone or whatever you have to do, just so they won't be able to track where you live at. Give them no information. If they want to write to you, whatever, you can send them a damn post office address when you're getting away from something. Western Union you or whatever. There's all kind of ways to protect yourself. You got to work with certain, what you're going through. Can't nobody help you if you ain't trying to help yourself. You don't procrastinate. You do what you have to do immediately. This information may not have been to help Ashley, but her life is speaking for a whole lot of other women who are there in this situation living today. And they have a chance. They have a chance. You don't have to become a vigilante. You don't have to get people out here on social media to be rooting for you to say, oh, if you kill your assailant or whatever like that, oh, did the right thing. No, you didn't do the right thing because you had all the action you need to take to protect yourself. Don't just only put the report in when you got to go get your things and you know that's an area he may be familiar with. You have a police car come with you, police officer come there to assist you. Don't do it alone. Sometimes you may have to not even use family members, but just you might have to use somebody from the shelter, a social worker, or somebody to go and accompany you to your place of address with the police. To protect you. People could have learned stories from the Tracy Thurman story. When her husband came and she went to cover at the family, everything, they all turned their back on her. They kind of put her more in danger than anything, if you ask me. And then the police came, and when the police were called, the police was just so like, oh my God, don't call the police when it's going on. Call the police before it happens. Before. Get the police there on site with you before it happens. Even if you have to go to the police station, and make sure you wait until a police officer is available to go with you before this assailant or whoever come and attack your life or harm you. I'm giving you some tips. I'm doing what I can to help you. If you're in this situation, this information is there to help you. Get out. Don't wait till it's too late. Get out. On the life of you, get out. So I'm going to end on this topic today with you guys. I'm not going to end on the topic. It might be some more stuff might pop up maybe later on or in the future, whatever. But I just wanted to share this one with you today, to help somebody out. Because this wasn't about R. Kelly today. This is about domestic violence and abuse. It's kind of like an R. Kelly story in a way too, with these women like saying they was. That's another topic, they ain't been beat up, harmed, or whatever. They've been on talk shows. They don't wrote books. They don't been on platforms. They don't been on award services, and it's just so much to go on. But what people do for money. Now they're gonna try to pimp out these 6 children. Yep. But you're still going to have a police officer, Tracy, to go when you got to go get your stuff from your home address, knowing that he might come there and try to harm you, to keep you away. That's what the police are there for. Once you get that order, you have to have a police officer with you. Whenever you go in any area that you know he might be your assailant or whoever might be, especially to your home address, your last home address, and even to the school for your children, to get your kids out of the school for safety reasons or whatever. Yeah, you definitely going to need that. You try to get as far as you can away from it. And I know women that get these PFAs on these boyfriends and these baby daddies and whatever, and they go right back to them. Move them right back into their home and everything, and cut off their relationship with their family members and everything, just so that they could save face and make it seem like everything is okay. We got it together. We working it out. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, whatever. So anyway, y'all, I'm going to close on this topic right now, this afternoon. Try to get some things work done. I'm still organizing some rooms. I'm still trying to, do some stuff. So while I'm taking this time away from work or whatever, but I needed to come and share this information because I was reading it, even left some of my comments on some of the videos, and I am going to put the videos here in the link of this video. Okay, some links of the videos here in this video. Once I take it down and I edit everything. Okay, so you all have a blessed, safe Wednesday, and if God's willing, I'll be back with you all. So love you, God bless, and peace.